And here we have a Telecom Loopaline tester. I believe this can actually work up to kilometres. This one's from a contract in 1990, so it's an older model. But I believe these are for finding faults in telephone, or identifying or finding faults in telephone pairs, and you can do it, I think, up to 20 kilometres or something, I think they said. Probe, used for tone search, cable pair identification, and providing signals to change the mode. So yeah, this was this oscillator unit that, yeah, looks like it hooks up, well, there you go, through a stereo plug. And the beauty about these is you could hook it up to your pit, or your, what do they call those telecom post things, where they had the above ground connection things, like a pillar or something maybe. You could hook this thing up to your pair, leave it running, and then when you got to the other end you could actually turn it off and turn it to different modes, so that you could do further tests without having to go all the way back and disconnect the thing. So it was like a one-man tester. You didn't need a person at each end, nor did you need to drive between ends necessarily. Blue oscillator leads across the customer's pair at the exchange. Using the probe, identify the pair at the customer's end. So they could go as far away as the exchange. Hook to their pair, using the probe, find the pair at the customer's end. So I could identify it, although most customers only had 2 pairs into their house, if it was just a residential one, and only one of them used. Connect probe leads to probe and across identified pair. Press probe button for about 1 second, then release. This will change oscillator to unlooped. Disconnect the probe leads. With oscillator in mode 2 unlooped, the pair can be tested for dial tone, acceptance of dial digits, ringback, etc. So that's what you could do. You could turn your tester off, and then just, if it was just to identify a pair, you could simply then just use it as hook up your normal Batinsky or whatever, and test it out as a, just with a normal telephone, or Batinsky being just your little test telephone. Having confirmed that the line is working, connect and test customer's equipment and return to exchange to collect the oscillator. Delay about 5 seconds required between each change of oscillator mode. And then we've got fault location, 2-wire test. Use with a single pair containing 1 good wire and the faulty wire. Disconnect the pair under test from the exchange. Connect the blue oscillator leads across the pair under test, white not used. Using the probe, identify the pair and test at far end of line. Connect probe leads to probe and across identified pair. So probe leads, so this should have a lead set, which it doesn't anymore, so it's got a smaller socket there by the look of it. And that's right, I pulled that battery, I think, out of this one. Sanyo Neo Super, we love the earth. Don't know what a Neo Super is, made in China. It's not ancient, whatever it is. So you must have to hook this up. Connect the probe leads to probe and across identified pair. Press probe button for about 1 second, then release. This will change oscillator to mode 2 unlooped again. Disconnect probe and test line to identify faulty wire. Reconnect probe to line. Press button to change oscillator to line looped. With oscillator in mode 3, line loop to oscillate fault location can proceed. 3-wire test. Use when a good pair is available as well as the faulty wire. Disconnect the pair under test from the exchange. Connect the blue oscillator leads across the good pair. Connect the white lead to the faulty wire. Using probe, identify the good pair at the far end. Repeat steps. As for 2-wire test, note that in mode 3 all 3 wires are looped at oscillator end. Pulse echo test. The loop unloop facility can be used to calibrate a PET for length of line to end of cable. So it doesn't tell me a lot about exactly what happens. Use for tone search, yeah, we looked at that. Line looped, line unlooped, tone center. Insert oscillator plug to switch on. Switch on always selects mode 1. World patents pending on the TX90 generator, which is this thing. Now, see, this has got a battery. Oh yeah, look, we've got a thing on the end here, but look at it, 9-volt battery. It says to slide that way. Oh, there we go. Better get that out. Oh, 0697. I just found where the date is on these. 97. Something tells me that hasn't been used in a while, but at least they haven't leaked everywhere. Oh, it's got a thing on the spring on it there. Line loops, does that just mean they're all joined together? Unlooped, not joined together. Plug in to switch on, so yeah, it must be why that lead comes out. That's got a switch in there, as most of these sockets do. Switch on always selects mode 1. So this just automatically goes into mode 1, and we've got Telecom, maint bus, something like that. Oh no, that's earphone here, and control signal. Why would you want a earphone unless, what are you listening to? Maybe, oh, maybe that's just so you can hear the tone, because you're looking for to find the pair. So what does this bit do? Is that the antenna that picks it up? Maybe pair identifier, receiver, and mode controller. Pair identifier, tone sender, unlooped. Yeah. Pair identifier. Press button. So if you press that, oh, you've got a little speaker in here, so maybe that makes a sound, and you've got to hear a headphone. That makes sense. So we should be able to hook this thing up and get it to see what it picks up. It would probably just pick it up from these leads, I guess. Plug these in the socket and connect the line under test. Press button for 1 second to select the mode, so that's what does the most. So that must be that DC plug. Unfortunately that lead is not with it. Just out of interest, I don't know if those batteries got any life in them. No way, 4 volts. So these must be one of these really 8.6 volts. You gotta be joking. That's a manganese battery. I don't even know what they are. I've heard of manganese batteries before, sort of, but I don't really know much about it. So one of those is still possibly got enough in it to run these things. Let's see what else I've got here. Hopefully a couple of these other old batteries are still alive. But I think we could even use one of those potentially. That's 8.93, so it's not much better. 9.15. I would assume this still works. Making a noise, so it shows it's functional, I'd say. And we better get this the right way around. Where's positive and negative? Oh, here we go. Now which one's which on the battery? Positive. I'll lock and load that. So that should be on, I think. Oh yeah. Well, that's a pretty annoying sound, but it works. Hook up this video cable, I guess, and see if we can identify a pair. That's the one. Although that's shielded, which probably doesn't help. A bit of... I've got a piece of phone cable somewhere lying around here. Well, where's just a bit of speaker cable or something will do? Or... can't hook to that. There we go. Let's try something unshielded, might be a better bet. Yeah, it works a bit better, I think. Bit random. But I guess the idea is it doesn't want to be too sensitive if you've got a whole lot of cables to poke around in. And how do we change the mode? Tone sender, mode 2, we just hold it for a second or something, is it? What does it say? Plug leads, oh that's right. Would have plugged the leads in the socket and connect to the line under test before we could send a tone down the line. Yeah, but anyway, at least we know what it does as far as a tester goes, or a line identifier. So that's quite impressive. You could find change old telephone cables around the countryside, I guess, for something to do. Hook to your home phone and follow it to all the pits you can find around the place, since they're all pretty much abandoned these days. But yeah, quite a good little unit. Guess it'd be worth a quick look inside, because why not? I don't think we're going to see very much exciting. That actually goes through the circuit board, that battery. But not doing anything justice if we don't dismantle it and see what the hell it's made out of. Because when the hell are you ever going to see inside one of these again? I've never even seen one before. Well, there's our piezo. We've got an LM308. I think that might be an audio amp chip, isn't it? A God knows what with a label on it. And it's got varnishy stuff all over everything, I think. Oh, if I can get the light right on it. Is it a TL? Yes, a TL what? 6553 or something? No idea. That's near impossible to read. It's not a 555, is it? It's got 4 digits. Look like it does look like 6553, 6555. Got a pot there which we could tweak, I guess. Oh, it's got a couple of bolts holding it in. So yeah, pretty boring really. But you gotta look. You never learn if you don't pull things apart. But I do collect a few telephones and bits and pieces, so it's a nice little go with thing, a little bit of technician test gear. And I guess we could have a look at the other end. That would be handy even for data cables, or even like television coax cables or something. If you've got them all running around a building, I reckon I could have used that a few times in my life if I'd had one. Now I think we might have to peel the labels off this to get into it. I'm betting that one of these sides comes off and there's screws under it. But which one? Well, is that one the back? Yeah, it's definitely one of those sort of labels. Well, can we find, oops, it's marking it a bit. I can't find any spots that might have a screw under them. These labels should come off and go back on again reasonably well, but you do tend to rip half the glue off them. Oh, there we go. We got 2 of them. Well, that was a lucky guess, but I guess it looked like the back label, and that's usually where they are, rather than the one considered the front. Something's still holding this together, right? There's a rubber seal around this end I better be careful of. Again, oh, what do we got there? One of those, it's like a current sensing coil thing. You run a, like for measuring in AC ammeters and stuff, clamp meter kind of setup, I think is what that thing is. It's got a cable going through it. We've got a ULM 20034, I think, 74C73, ICM 7556, and another that's a TLO 62. I wonder if that other one was an 062CP or something, and I was just unable to read it better, but yeah, they're both TLO 62s, which are a lot more common. So that's a relay, I think, 2 relays. So it must switch the modes probably. There's our socket, there's a 10-turn pot in there, which is actually adjustable from outside. I don't know what that does, but that'll probably lift out if I take that off, won't it? Not that easy. Oh, well, I won't mess with it too much, it's probably clipped in a bit. No, it is coming loose. It's just very tight in there, I think. Another pot there you can tweak. Looks like a serial number or something there. That must be the battery end. Got a little orange tantalum capacitors. So it looks rather nicely built, and yeah, a bit of varnish or something on the boards, I think, probably so they can survive but getting a bit wet and stuff, because these are a field kind of unit. No doubt used in pits and, yeah, like I say, those pillar things, so you don't, not always at the customer's premises doing things. But at least with that signal you'd be able to find if they're actually getting to a pit and into the connection in the pit and back out the other side. So you could find a break in a cable, I guess, down to the nearest pit sort of thing, where it is and where it isn't. If someone's dug a fence post hole through the cable somewhere or something, at least you have an idea where it gets to and where the break is. Just look for the nearest excavator. That's probably ripped your cable in half. Or, like I say, a dude putting a fence post in somewhere. Because it's amazing how many times just around here I've seen people dig just a fence post hole, which is not all that big, and still manage to hit the only phone line in the district just about. You'd think it'd be pretty hard to dig up a phone line given how small they are, even when they're multi-pair ones, but people do it. There's quite a few joins around this area I know of where people didn't dial before they dug. And you wouldn't think with the fence post you'd have much chance hitting anything in the country, but like I say, it's amazing how people manage to do it. Oh well, that's an interesting little gadget. Thanks for watching.